So HBO Max does this thing I absolutely love now. I believe it's also echoed on Netflix, but it's the Leaving Soon tab or tag. So you're scrolling and there's a section, and you can be even scrolling through like action movies, and it'll say something like Tango and Cash leaving soon. It's a good incentive to click on it because you don't want to miss out. And hey, a lot of movies disappear on these streaming services and they're hard to hunt down. Myself, I subscribe to everything. But I know some of you guys are a little bit more frugal than myself. But I'm the film buff. We subscribe to everything because we love movies. So I see this movie and it says Leaving Soon on HBO Max. It's Dakota Fanning, and she's giving the Vulcan salute, the Vulcan V, the Vulcan symbol. And the movie's called Please Stand By. And I read the synopsis, and it sounds like the cutest movie on planet Earth. So I hit it, and we're talking about it. And this is how we discover movies nowadays, because this movie was made and released in 2017, 2018. I never heard of it. Never heard of this movie, and I am deeply connected to everything geek, everything nerd, everything pop culture. I subscribe to all the YouTube channels, all the Twitter accounts, all the Facebook groups. I am constantly combing and conversing pop culture with individuals. But guess what? We found something amazing. So let's get into it, guys. Welcome back to the show, aka AKAPAD, the Film Buff Podcast. We gotta roll through that intro.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
So I hit play. Can I talk? I hit play, and I know the movie I'm about to embark on. Right? There was this movie about a bunch of kids in the bus to go see Star Wars called Fanboys. There's a movie about a bunch of kids cutting school to go see Kiss, Detroit Rock City. So this description, the movie description for Please Stand By, is a autistic girl that sets out to deliver a Star Trek script that she wrote to win the contest, and the contest has $100,000 prize. And I'm just like, holy crap! Like, why? It's somewhat annoying that a movie that celebrates something, right? Because like we know what we're getting into with this movie. It's a celebration movie, and you have to kind of call out a lot of these individuals that have made careers off of trashing everything that's new in Star Trek. Everything Star Trek Picard, everything Star Trek Discovery. Pretending they don't like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies and so on and so forth, right? And I say pretending because, I don't know, I love Star Trek Beyond. I really do. That's available on Netflix. I just keep putting that movie on. I love the beginning of that movie. But we're a little bit in an age where you get rewarded for hating. And it's odd to me. Right? Like, who are the people that get rewarded for celebrating things? I don't see much of that. Well, I guess we're here, right? We get limited rewards. So Please Stand By is so freaking good. This movie, I hate to say it, if you catch... One of the reasons we're putting this episode out right away is so you can catch this movie. Dakota Fanning, Toni Collette, Patton Oswalt, Elisa Eve, and there's a cute dog named Pete that's at the even at the end credits. But I would really put this movie like in this category that just makes you appreciate the source material. Just makes you go want to watch Star Trek. And as we know, my father, Big Tone, he was big on Star Trek. He really did enjoy Star Trek. We would bond over Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard before his passing. And it's good. It's good to kind of find things about your parents to connect to. And Star Trek was one of them. Now, given he wasn't as much as a critic as myself, so sometimes to enjoy the conversation, have the conversation flow, let's hold back a little. Guys, I hold back a lot when I talk to. Even when some of you guys drop into my DMs, I have to hold. You have to hold back. Because you kind of get into the mindset to challenge everything. And I do feel like some of that gets expressed via YouTube and via other shows. And it gets rewarded. But I thought Dakota Fanning, to quote Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, right? He didn't go full retard. She didn't go full retard. She is an autistic girl. She lives in the home. She lives away from her family, and she's learning to cope with her illness, or not her illness. I take that back. Her condition. And we see a little bit of her routine in this movie, and you're just like, wow, like that's so stressful. And your heart goes out to these people. And what happens is a little bit of tragedy strikes. And she misses the deadline to mail in her script. So she leaves, she escapes. And she finds she finds a bus. She buys a ticket that's able to take her to Los Angeles so she can drop it off at Paramount Studios. Right? And kind of like we've seen this movie before. That's the best thing. But what makes this movie great is everyone in it, everyone around it. Patton Oswalt completely wins this movie in such an enormous way. Like, he's the MVP of this flick. Because to lure her into safety, he speaks Klingon to Dakota Fanning, and she speaks Klingon back. And it's so perfect for him to be a police officer, to do something like that. I cannot describe how dead on and fourth and fifth and sixth wall breaking it is. It truly is. But Dakota Fanning, her character, she finds a bus. She gets a bus. She pays for the ticket. She needs to learn what a round trip ticket is, and all these things. And we're angsty. Like, there's angst within the audience as we're watching all of this. But she gets on the bus, and the dog, the PD dog, pees, and she gets thrown off the bus. And as soon as she steps off of the bus in the middle of nowhere, we're like, holy crap. Like, what's she going to do? AKAPADers, I saw this when I was younger in a movie called The Wizard. That's the video game version of this movie, where again, autistic kid with his brother and a friend, they travel cross country for a video game competition. I believe they're going from they're going to Los Angeles, maybe to Las Vegas, potentially. And then she gets robbed. This movie's just full of cliches, but the performances and Dakota Fanning is absolutely unstoppable. And during the credits, I see Mark Cuban's name. So Mark Cuban is executive producer. Ben Lewin, he's our director. The screenplay is by Michael Galamaco. Excuse me if I butchered that name. It's all there. This is based on one of his plays. He's a seasoned author. Is it a full play or a short play? I'm not 100% sure. But immediately makes you want to see this thing on stage, because it really is a one-character performance. Does Dakota Fanning have to be autistic? I mean, I think it's like a yes and a no. I say yes because knowing that she is disabled to some degree, right? Like, she has her back up against the wall. We see her challenges, and she gets more of a plight. It's more of a cheap shot for the audience, right? This is why in action movies we always save the dog. It just works. But I don't know, AKAPADers. I think everyone involved with this movie is fantastic. I really do. I think this movie's a home run. I was completely blown away of seeing hardly any traction online or anything about this movie. But that's what we do here at the Film Buff Podcast. Sometimes, and thank you streaming services, but sometimes we see something that looks scary and we watch it right there. Something looks funny. John Cena is all over my TV with Jackpot because I have an Amazon Fire Cube. So, like one day I'm going to sit down and see that and just be like, you know what? John Cena and Aquafina looks pretty good. That looks like a good time right now. Let's go. Check this movie out. Check it out on HBO Max if you can. And report back. And I would put this in the category of Star Trek movies, same as you would with Fanboys and Star Wars or great video game movies with Wizard, because it celebrates the guts of everything, the guts of the source material, and it makes you want to love and appreciate Star Trek, and that's rare. Any movie that kind of reaches inside of you and shakes it out a little bit like that, it's a good thing, aka Padders. Please stand by, and it's worth watching the movie to know what the title means. It's worth it. So check it out, everyone. Love you. Rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.